Hey everybody out there, it is Brent Daniels with Wholesaling Inc. podcast. I am the host on this episode, and this episode is going to be phenomenal. This episode is for anybody that has ever struggled with anything in life, whether it be a job that was just a dead-end job or a job that was terrible, whether you have no money, whether you just have the only thing fueling you is your passion for this business, your passion for wholesaling, your passion to hit the lottery, which is wholesaling real estate. This podcast interview is for you. We are both on this podcast and we are on a video podcast live. We're going to post this to Facebook and my YouTube page at Brent Daniels Real Estate Coach. So check that out. But it is my absolute pleasure to introduce on this podcast Mr. Joseph Morando. How are you, Joseph?
Hello, Brent. I'm doing fantastic. First of all, thank you for having me on. I remember putting out Bandit signs in the middle of the night in the Phoenix desert and truly being inspired.
Yeah, so let's pull this back a little bit. Joseph is literally just down the hall in my office space. He got office in the same building that I am at on the 19th floor in downtown Phoenix. He is in the Phoenix market and he is doing just explosive amount of business. So this is going to be a really, really awesome interview. But Joseph, you didn't start out this way, right? You didn't start out in real estate and doing amazing things and having a team, which you can see behind if you're watching the video. What you did is you literally started from the ground up, just you and your wife. So let's roll back the tape a little bit. And why don't you tell me, like, since the time that you were little, what have you been doing to get to this point?
Well, Brent, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I truly began my voyage back in 2014. I had a cleaning franchise, and basically it's just a glorified janitor. I remember working 10, 12 hours a day. I remember scrubbing toilets, and where in some cases there was accidents, and I had to literally clean up feces and throw up, and just thinking there had to be a better way. So what I started doing, Brent, I started listening to podcasts just like yours, and just taking action from those podcasts. I put out Bandit signs and I got a few calls, and I was just completely overwhelmed and ready to quit. I didn't know how to talk to sellers. I didn't know how to book appointments. And so I was real frustrated at that point. I heard about an event coming into town, just like Wholesaling Inc. Summit coming in October. And so I went to that event. Within a few minutes of that event, the instructor called me on stage and asked me why I hadn't got my first check.
And who was the instructor and what was the event?
The event was Extreme Freedom, and Sean Terry was the instructor.
Awesome. Sean is phenomenal. He's just down the road from us, so keep going with it. So he pulls you up on stage. What happens?
And so he challenged me to get my first check within 30 days in front of 300 people. And he said if I did not get my first check, he was basically going to email everybody and let them know I did not get my check.
Yeah, so I bet that put some motivation in you.
Absolutely, and I did in fact get my first check. It was on the 30th day. Within 40 days, I closed 3 deals for revenue of $32,000.
So what do you think changed? What do you think, was it just that pressure to do it? Was it something that you learned at the conference? Like what made that change in you to be able to do those deals, just start doing deals in that 30 days?
It was I think my internal dialogue of you know what, I have to do it. I had a timeline of when I had to do it, and then just making it public and having 300 people, know about my situation.
Yeah, you know what? It comes down to changing your state of mind, right? Before you could always hide behind, well, I'm trying really hard, but I'm not getting any deals. Or, I'll eventually get there, but I'm a little bit hesitant to talk to sellers. Once you change that state in your mind that says, oh my gosh, I'm going to be embarrassed in front of 300 people, or I'm going to be embarrassed, or am I really going to take action? Do I really want this bad enough? Do I really have the grit? On this podcast, we talk about grit. It was called Investor grit for a while. You know what I mean? We talk about that grit that you need. All that is a change in your state of mind. It is really putting something in there that's going to motivate you to push through those tough times, be able to make the decisions that you wouldn't normally make so that you can go out there and provide value to the marketplace.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you started there, and you started with Bandit signs, and you started with, is that how you found those deals?
That is correct. So I placed Bandit signs. There's a couple of routes that I like to use that historically has gotten me a deal. It's basically just Googling the interstates that have the highest traffic, and you basically place Bandit signs there, or you get a simple Walmart route, or get an app on your phone and place your Bandit signs on that route. So that's how I got my first deals.
Got it. And why did these people call you? Why do sellers reach out to you on a Bandit sign? Why would they do that?
In this situation, it was an inherited property.
Mm-hmm.
There was 5 siblings. One of them was in jail, and so there was actually a squatter living in the property, and they just wanted to liquidate the property.
Got it. So you went from cleaning toilets and doing janitorial services to saying,
Yes.
you know what, there's got to be something better in life. So you decided to go to an Extreme Freedom with Sean Terry, phenomenal event, phenomenal coach, and he pulled you up on stage, and it made you change your state of mind. And then all of a sudden, you're in front of somebody that has how many people inherited it?
5.
5 people inherited this property, and you're able to navigate it through to be able to, 1, get that huge weight off of their shoulders, and 2, to be able to make your first check in the business. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes, Brent.
How much did you make?
We made 22,300
on your first deal.
Yes.
That is what I am talking about. So then you obviously had the bug, right? Obviously then you started to really start implementing. Now, how long ago was this?
This was 4 years ago.
4 years ago. So this is 2014.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, great. So how many Bandit signs were you putting out at the time?
I was putting out about 50 a week.
50 a week. Okay.
Yes.
And were you doing it yourself, or did you have somebody do it?
Myself, Brent.
Okay, got it. And when the calls came in, did you take the calls yourself?
That is correct. I got them live.
Okay, great. And then how did you have buyers to sell that to? I mean, let's speak like we're talking to somebody that's just getting into this, and they're like, that sounds great. I got a seller, they're motivated, but then what do I do? How did you find a buyer for this property?
I put out Bandit signs that said "Vendo casas" in Spanish, Brent.
Because you cater to that market. I mean, it's a very, very, very strong niche for you, isn't it?
That is correct. Yes, about 80% of our deals have been sold to the Spanish market.
80% of them.
Yes.
Now, for anybody out there that caters to that market, or caters to whatever market it is, whether it be some foreign language, there's plenty of different niches that you can get into. Maybe somebody speaks, some sort of Chinese or Japanese or Spanish or whatever it is. I mean, there's definitely those niches there. So how did you start? I mean, how are those buyers? Do you have to educate them more on the process?
That is correct. A lot of these buyers have cash. Maybe perhaps they're a contractor that puts tile or roofer, and so they've had a lot of work since 2009 and just collected money, and now they want a part of American dream. Maybe it's a McDonald's worker just saving her money and just wanting her second rental. So that's basically, and you do have to educate them just a little bit more. But it's a good market to be in.
What a beautiful mentality that is. A McDonald's worker that wants their second rental. That's because they're saving their money. They're not throwing it away. Even if you make a small amount of money, they're saving it and putting it into assets. Remember, when we make money, we have 2 choices. We consume or we invest. Where do you want to spend your money? That is, I just love that. That's kind of a side note, but that's so huge. I mean, you can tap into those markets, and I feel like, at least with my experience in the business, when we do sell to somebody that wants to either fix up the house themselves and live in it, or fixing it for a rental, they pay more for the property than, say, a fix and flipper would, or say somebody that is another wholesaler or something like that. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes, Brent.
So you've got this So you had people calling off of your Bandit signs. So how long were you doing Bandit signs? I mean, take us through the next few years.
So for the next 2.5 years, it was strictly Bandit signs. And what happened is I wasn't getting too many calls. So what it taught me was being able to convert these sellers and really appreciating every single seller that will call me. And we just had a philosophy of putting people before profits. And I think that served us well.
I love it. People before profits. That is so huge. That is, one of the things that I've been talking to my company about, to the students in the TTP program is about competence. It is so important. Competence is such a huge, huge factor in this business. And really, we focus the competence on two things. One, how to price a property, how to evaluate it, how to know what price to, one, lock it up at, and two, sell it. That's a whole different podcast in itself, but that's huge. The second one is understanding personality types. Okay, when you understand the 4 different personality types, there's analyticals, there's drivers, there's expressives, and there's amiables. Okay, and that's another podcast in itself. But if you can understand which personality type that you're talking to or working with, you can communicate in a way that they open up to you. Just like Joseph's saying, they're the ones that are going to really be honest. They're going to open up and let you know what their issues are, what their problems are, because once you know that, you know the path that you need to take to solve those problems. And that's what Joseph is phenomenal at. I mean, you guys don't get to see him on a daily basis like I do, but I'm telling you, this guy is the nicest, most versatile guy on the planet. This guy can charm anybody because he is just absolutely all about listening to what the other person's saying, understanding where they're coming from, and has a huge, huge, huge emotional intelligence. It's absolutely a factor. Have you always been like that, Joseph?
No. When I first started wholesaling, Brent, I used to think about the bottom line and getting the biggest checks possible. And what I noticed is whenever I went to an appointment, I was always nervous. When I flipped the switch and started putting people before profits, my nerves went away, Brent, and that's when the magic started to happen.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. It's the whole go-giver mentality, right? Our income is determined by the value we provide to the marketplace, and that is so huge. So, okay, so you started going on appointments. So over the last few years, how is your business grown? How has it evolved? What does it look like, after a year of doing it? What it look like?
And so it evolved. We were doing well, Brent. I think last year we did 38 deals. But in December, the hustle hurt. So I was feeling the same emotions I was when I was a janitor and cleaning buildings. I didn't have the will to go out on appointments, and the hustle was hurting. And so what I did is I started implementing some of the stuff you were talking about on podcast, using your scripts. We got proof of concept with the deal. And then so I made my first hire in January.
So wait, why was the hustle hurting? What does that mean? Because I think that's really, really important for the people listening. I mean, you're making money, dude. You're doing deals. You did what, 38? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Why were you? I mean, why were you hurting? I don't understand. Was it too much? Was it too much time? Was it too much emotions? Like, what was going on?
So the reason I got into this business was for freedom. And I have 2 teenage daughters, my wife that I've been married with for 18 years. And I was basically just a slave to a job.
Got it. So what do you mean? Incoming calls? What was making a slave to you? I mean, was it too much marketing? Was it not enough marketing? Was it running around too much? Too many appointments? Like what was clogging up your life that you felt that this was a job?
Basically putting Bandit signs every weekend. Doing postcards in-house. I was doing all the mailings. I was running appointments. I was taking the phone calls. I was disposition. So I would market. I would sell. I would sell this, assign the contract, and then I would baby the deal to the end. And so then I needed to start over again. So it was just that routine of going back and forth, and I was doing everything.
How many hours a week were you working, you think?
At least 50, 60. And if I wasn't working, I was listening to podcasts and trying to get better. So it it was a lot of my time.
So then you made the beautiful choice that everybody in this market should make, and that's when you decided to implement the TTP into your
Yes.
business. Now, you
Yes.
didn't start off by just joining the program. You started off by using the scripts, using what was learned on these podcasts that we're just talking about here that are free on the Wholesaling Inc. Podcast. And you wanted a proof of concept because you wanted the belief that it worked, right? You wanted that certainty that if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to join a TTP program, or if I'm going to implement this marketing channel into my business, I want to make sure it works, right?
That is correct, Brent. Yes.
So what happened?
From your podcast, you gave us the scripts. You told us who to call, and I actually did what you told us. I called an absentee owner in Texas. She wanted to liquidate her house because unfortunately her parents passed away, and she didn't want to deal with that house anymore.
Sure. So you just called her out of the blue, and
Correct.
she wanted to sell. And
Yes.
pulling from the ether, out of the air, you pull a deal by just using your voice and your phone, and you called her up, got an appointment, got it signed. What did you make on it?
We got it for 60,000. I actually closed on it, cleaned it up, and sold it for 95,000 to a managed buyer.
So what did you net?
It was about 30,000.
That was weak. Hold on.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. So that is phenomenal, guys. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. So that was back at the beginning of the year. You jumped into the program, and then you have just taken it serious, man. I mean, you have just absolutely exploded. So tell me the progression over the last 8 months.
So now we have a full team in place. We have an acquisition. We have cold callers. We have Maria that's basically my glue, and she keeps me in order, and my wife. And so now I'm working on my business versus in my business.
Beautiful. And how many cold callers do you have right now? I mean, because here's a unique thing, guys. Joseph has his cold callers in the office with us. They're here. There was one sitting behind. Dominique was sitting behind him. She just walked past. So hopefully she pops back in, because I want you to see and meet his team if you're watching this on the video. But he's got his team in-house. They're making so many calls. I mean, how many seller contacts are your guys making per day?
You just mentioned Dominique. She does 200 contacts a day, so she has 200 quality conversations with homeowners a day.
How is that possible? Is she just doing it all day long?
And she is doing it all day long. She hasn't drive, and that's why she is. We're training her as an acquisition because I love her work ethic.
Beautiful. And you've got a couple other in here. I mean, you just hired another one, and you've got Alex, and you're just doing phenomenal things. I mean, guys, I'm not joking. I'm in a glass office here. They're all around making calls all around me all day long. It is phenomenal. It's just a different feel to it. It's a great energy. They're here till 7, 8 o'clock. The sun doesn't go down in Phoenix till like 8 o'clock at night right now, and they're here taking selfies of themselves, smiling with their headphones on, making calls. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is what it takes. This is the drive. This is that grit that we're talking about. Joseph understands where he was. Joseph understands that he was cleaning up toilets and bathrooms and poop and barf and all this other things before, and he's not going to go back to that. He has evolved and he has grown, and that's the mentality that he has, because he is there, supporting and cheerleading and training and making sure that they're, getting fresh lists to call and staying enthusiastic, and they're using the rights, that they're using the TTP script, and they're doing all the right things. I mean, he is just grinding, guys. He is grinding. His people are grinding, and it comes from the top. But he's still doing less in time and work than he was doing 8 months ago, because he is leveraging the ability to get deals from picking up the phone and talking to people. Let me see that shirt on you, Joseph. Yeah, we got the TTP. Mine's a little bit older than yours, but yeah, absolutely. The TTP shirt, the world famous TTP shirt. I love it. But that's what it's about. It gets me so pumped up to have him in the office with me. I mean, and there's Dominique there, just taking a break for 2 seconds and jumping back on the phone. Get Dominique to wave to the camera.
Dominique, say hi to everybody. Maria, say hi to everybody.
Get her to come around. Okay. Anyway, sorry for podcast. She's going to come around. She's anyway. Some more people on his team. Look at that. They are all there. They're all doing so, just amazing things. So, Joseph, what do you think? I mean, as you're growing your business, how do you stay on top of everything? How do you keep people accountable? How do you make sure that everybody's doing their job and they keep consistent with it? Because consistency in this business is key.
Well, Brent, like you said, it's from the top. I show them as much as I can. So eventually they can leave me. But I'm going to treat them so well that they won't leave me. And so it's a good atmosphere, and I love working with them. It's a total blessing.
It is. It's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you guys are just killing it. So let's we're talking all this stuff up. You got this office space up here on the 19th floor. You've got this team. How many deals are you doing? How many pending deals do you have right now? Like actually under contract, sold off, ready to go?
We do about 6 to 8 deals a month.
Yes, you do.
I listened one of your Facebook lives, and you mentioned to go after mobile homes and land and multifamily. And we actually went after land last week, and it was a phenomenal week. We called it for 1 week, and we got 9 contracts.
9 contracts.
Correct, yes.
Phenomenal. And you guys are just, this is all TTP.
That is correct, all TTP, Brent.
So what on average are you making per month?
It ranges. We're still new, so we'll range from 40 to 90,000.
40 to 90,000, guys, from picking up the phone. You see Dominique, oh my gosh, Dominique's making calls right now, guys. It's incredible. They're doing business right now in front of you. 60 to 90,000. I love it, man, and it's just the beginning. You are just exploding it. You're building up your pipeline. You're doing all the right things. You're building it up so that it's just going to continuously give you consistent business every single month because you're doing it consistently. And you're not recreating the wheel. You're not making this complicated. You're not doing 15 different marketing channels. You're not spending ridiculous amounts of money doing direct mail or pay-per-click or whatever else. TV, radio, billboards, any of that stuff. What are you doing? You're going and you're being proactive. You're the one going out there. You're on offense, calling up these people every single day. It is phenomenal. I absolutely love it. And your success is just blowing, it's just going through the roof, man. It really is.
Thank you, Brent.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
And I will allot to you as well, Brent, have you in the building and tweaking our business and saving us thousands of dollars. And making us thousands of dollars as well. I truly thank you for everything you do, Brent.
Well, you guys got all the hard work. You guys are the ones that have to go out and provide the value. So that is absolutely phenomenal. So if you're just sitting knee to knee, belly to belly, face to face with somebody that is brand new to the business, somebody that hasn't done their first deal, what advice do you give them?
I would say focus on one course until successful. Don't make it a rational decision. Make it an emotional based decision. Find your why. Listen to all Brent's podcasts. Get the script. Call. Get a deal, and then join the TTP program.
I love it. And I definitely love that. But how do you, just switching tracks real quick, let's go back to your buyer base. How do you find so many Spanish-speaking buyers?
Well, first of all, we look at the zip codes that Spanish buyers buy. So we use what you teach us in the program to get the cash buyers by zip code. And we simply go to demographics and go under Spanish. And then that'll tell us the biggest zip codes where Spanish buyers are buying. Beautiful. And then how do you get them into your database? We'll use Bandit signs. Vendo Casa is big. That probably gets us about a 50 to 75% response rate, which is unbelievable, of Spanish buyers. We also love Facebook groups in Spanish. There's groups here in Phoenix that have up to 180,000 members, and these Facebook groups are all over the country. And I simply just put a property I'm looking to assign, and then I like to put ITIN approved. So that basically just means that's a tax identification number that they use to be able to buy a property. ITIN approved. Yes. Correct? Yes. Guys, this is huge. Listen to this, especially if you want to tap into those markets that are underserved and that are going to pay the most for it. I am telling you, this is huge. You go into Facebook groups. How do you find the Spanish-speaking groups? You basically just go into Facebook and the search bar, you look for groups. You have your Craigslist groups, you have your Spanish groups, and they'll basically just pop up.
Got it.
Here in Phoenix, I think we have about 100 groups. Every time you get a house under contract, it goes in each one of those groups, and you'll certainly get a response.
Yeah, you sure will. What book have you read that you think everybody should read?
The Greatest Salesman in the World with Og Mandino with the 10 Scrolls.
Love it. Yeah, I've got that literally right here on my desk. Phenomenal. It's holding up my computer, or I'd pull it out and like show it, but you gave it to me, so thank you. And then what do you think, I like asking this question, what do you think your superpower is? What's your superpower, Joseph?
I don't think I have one, but if I did have one, Brent, it's just putting my hard hat on, getting that blue collar mentality and just going out there and working, Brent. And you know what? I think this is the golden age of wholesaling, and this is the time to jump in.
Yep. And on his, well, at least his old office, he just moved to a new office that's bigger, but on his glass walls in his office, he has a big, he's written all over them, and on it, it says, start every day at zero. Zero money in the bank, zero leads, zero deals. Like, keep that hunger, keep that super passion that like you have to go out and do something today. You have to provide value today. Who can I find that I can help today? I mean, that is such a beautiful mentality to keep. It changes your state. When you put these things on the board in front of you, it changes your state of mind. When you change your state of mind, that helps you to be certain that you can do this. You start envisioning all the things that you can do, and that changes everything, because then you can take massive action. And when you take massive action, you get massive results. Like Joseph, that's doing $60,000 to $90,000 a month from picking up the phone and calling people and then wholesaling these properties. It's absolutely bananas. It's just unbelievable to see, Joseph. It's really, really great.
Thank you, Brent.
Yeah, so just to finish up this podcast, Joseph, just kind of give us one thing, give us one thing that you are working on right now in your business that you know that if you implement this, you are going to just take it to the next level.
One thing I think is just following your path, Brent. I mean, following somebody that's already done what you want to do, and that you gave us the $1 million blueprint. I mean, you spend a day with your students and just implementing that blueprint and not reinventing the wheel.
Beautiful. I love it. And just like Joseph was saying, if you are interested in joining the TTP program, if you are ready to be proactive, to get your costs down for your marketing budget and get your profits up from the biggest, best, juiciest deals in the marketplace, go to www.wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Set up a call, 20, 30 minutes calls with phenomenal. It's just going to be a phenomenal call. Set it up, do it today. Don't hesitate. You owe it to yourself to get on there. If it's a right fit for you, I would love it for you to come up and join Joseph and I on the 19th floor, spend some time with us and really deep dive the business and give you as much information as possible so that you can get to that $1 million level. So remember also, Wholesaling Summit coming up. Joseph and I will be there live October 15th to the 17th. This is in Asheville, North Carolina, Wholesaling Summit 2018.com. Make sure that you get there and register. It's already 2/3 full.